Hi, my name is Jessica Cohen. I'm a recent graduate from Cornell University, and I'm going to share my experience running a successful campaign in the DefaultVeg Internship program. When I started the program, I did some research into the current landscape of dining at Cornell to try to understand where there were areas for improvement, what some constraints might be, what was already going on. And through this investigation, I identified a few areas of improvement of potential campaigns we could run, including plant-based nudges and defaults, and default oat milk strategy. I was really interested in the default oat milk strategy because it seemed like such a semi-straightforward and obvious campaign because it really could impact consumer behavior through a really simple switch. So I met with the head of dining to better understand dining. It was the head of sustainability and the head nutritionist, and they provided some helpful information, including telling us about some nudges that were already happening, such as putting the plant-based dishes first, and also some labeling techniques. So after that meeting, we kind of decided that default oat milk would be the best approach. And so me and my campaign partner, Lily, looked into default oat milk and what the constraints might be at Cornell. We found that Cornell gets its dairy milk from their own factory farm, so they get it for very cheap and also don't have interest in decreasing the sale of dairy milk because they have such strong ties to the dairy industry. So we didn't think default oat milk would be possible, so we instead landed on removing the upcharge on plant-based milk. So at the time, there was a 70 cents to $1 upcharge for plant-based milk, and I spoke to a lot of students, some who were plant-based, many who weren't, who were really disappointed by this upcharge. Some of them were lactose intolerant and said that they couldn't afford every day paying 70 cents to $1 extra on their coffee, and so they would just get dairy milk and suffer the consequences of feeling sick later, which is really disappointing. There were also a lot of people who were interested in oat milk because they liked the taste of it, but again, didn't want to pay the upcharge. So we brought this to the head of retail dining, who oversees all of the cafes, and we came in through the angle of inclusivity and social justice. We presented numbers on the likely prevalence of lactose intolerance at Cornell based on the demographics, which was largely with the help of Better Food Foundation. And the social justice and inclusivity angle really resonated with the head of retail. He had a child with allergies, and he thought of how unfair it would be if his child had to pay extra just because of his allergies. So he was really interested in our idea and our pitch, and we walked him through some of the ways to make it work financially, which again was the help of Better Food Foundation. And within a month of our meeting, there was a campus-wide change. They removed the upcharge on plant-based milk and removed the default dairy milk, which means that instead of you order a latte, and unless you say, I want oat milk, they put in dairy milk. Every time someone orders, they ask, what kind of milk do you want? And so that gives people an extra second to think about what they're ordering and potentially try oat milk or get oat milk in case they were, ordering quickly and didn't really think about it. And so when we got the results later, we had an outpour of positive responses from students, so many students sending it to us and being like, oh my God, this is amazing, thank you. But we also got data from the head of retail showing that within that school year, the sale of oat milk doubled, directly replacing dairy milk, which is amazing. We were able to see it really had an impact just through this simple change. And so that was kind of the end of that campaign, though through the rest of my time at Cornell, I led other campaigns and nudges. But what I learned through this campaign was the importance of tailoring your message to your audience. I was primarily motivated by animal welfare and a little bit environmental reasons, but I know that dining teams don't really care as much about animals. It's not one of their main priorities. So we came in from the inclusivity and social justice angle and also brought up the environmental angle as well because we thought that might resonate with them. And clearly that paid off because the inclusivity and social justice angle really resonated with the person we were talking to. The other thing that I learned was the importance of coming into the meetings with doing your research beforehand. So for example, understanding the current state of dining and knowing, looking at who to talk to, and also coming in with the pitch and also understanding how to make it work financially, I think really helped our case because we sounded prepared and we knew not just that we wanted this change to happen, but how to help make it happen. So yeah, that was my experience running a successful campaign through the DefaultVeg Internship program. I can't wait to see all the campaigns that you all run.